Have you ever noticed how your phone seems to follow you like a shadow? You reach for it before you even open your eyes in the morning. You check it again before the night lets you sleep. Somewhere along the way, technology stopped being a tool and started becoming the air we breathe. Invisible, constant, demanding. We tell ourselves we are in control, but deep down we know something else is pulling the strings. It is not just distraction. It is design. And here lies the uncomfortable truth. The danger of digital life does not always scream. It whispers. It hides behind convenience. It feels normal until one day you cannot imagine living without it. In this video, we will uncover 7 hidden signs that digital clutter has already taken control of your mind. Signs so subtle, you may not even realize they are shaping you right now. Sign 1. The rebrand that looks like freedom. Have you noticed how the most dangerous things rarely look dangerous? They do not arrive with a warning. They arrive dressed in a new name, a softer design, a promise that this time will be different. Technology does this with perfect skill. An app that once drained your time suddenly speaks the language of balance. A platform that once begged for your attention now claims to protect your focus. They rebrand, repaint, reshape. But beneath the new colors, the hunger remains the same. They still want your eyes. They still want your hours. They still want you. This is the first sign that digital clutter has begun to rule you. It does not step back when you resist. It steps forward with a brighter smile. It tells you it has changed. It tells you that you misunderstood. And for a moment, you believe it, because part of you longs to believe it. But listen carefully. The defaults never change. The notifications still pull you in the second you glance away. The feed still expands endlessly, waiting for your thumb to surrender. You walk in with a single purpose and walk out wondering where the last half hour has gone. Cal Newport, in his book Digital Minimalism, warns us that technology companies know exactly what they are doing. They redesign not to set you free, but to make the trap look invisible. He calls it the economy of attention, and in this economy, every second you spend is profit for them, loss for you. So what does digital minimalism teach us here? It says, do not listen to the words. Look at the function. Ask only one quiet question. Does this tool serve my values, or do I serve it? If it pulls me away from what matters, it is not freedom. It is disguise. The first act of resistance is to refuse the rebrand, to see through the new reputation and meet the truth beneath it. You reset the defaults before the defaults reset you. You create friction where the system once created none. You remove the shortcut icons that begged for your glance. You make the path to distraction harder, so the path to intention feels closer. There is a moment that comes after this, a strange silence where the old impulse twitches and finds no answer. At first it feels empty, but then almost suddenly it feels like peace. The smile of the rebrand no longer tempts you because you know the trick. You no longer chase the promise of change because you have chosen the change yourself. And yet, when you begin to resist the disguise, something else begins to happen. Your body speaks. You feel the weight in your chest, the strange buzz under your skin. That is not imagination. That is the second sign. Sign 2. The strange vibrations beneath the surface. Have you ever felt your phone even when it was not there? A buzz in your pocket, a shiver across your skin, the restless urge to check again, though nothing has changed. This is not a glitch in your imagination. It is the second sign that digital clutter has begun to rewrite your nervous system. Our ancestors were wired to sense danger before they could explain it. A snap of a twig in the dark. A sudden silence in the forest. The body reacted first. The mind caught up later. Today, that same instinct is being hijacked by glowing screens. Every vibration, every ping, every flash of red badge is treated like a predator's signal. Your body surges with adrenaline. Your breath shortens. And yet the threat never arrives. Only the next distraction does. Researchers at MIT, led by psychologist Sherry Turkle, discovered that even the silent presence of a phone on the table is enough to change the way we speak. Our conversations become lighter, thinner, more cautious. Not because the device is active, but because our bodies sense the potential of interruption. The possibility alone is enough to steal depth from human connection. That uneasy feeling you carry after scrolling late at night. That shallow ache of fatigue the morning after. That strange irritation you cannot explain. These are vibrations, messages from the body telling you that the environment is hostile to peace. The signal is real. The cost is real. Epictetus once said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." In our digital world, we might say we are not disturbed by the phone itself, but by the way it has trained our body to wait for its call. It has become an uninvited guest in our nervous system, keeping us restless even in silence. Minimalism offers a remedy, though it is quieter than you expect. Turn off the vibration. Step outside with nothing in your pocket. Let your pulse return to its own rhythm. Notice how the body recalibrates in the absence of the signal. The calm that follows is not weakness, it is recovery. But beware. When you silence one vibration, the system does not stop. It invents another disguise. It layers new stories on top of the old ones. And this is how we arrive at the third sign, where lies begin to cover lies. Lies cover lies. Have you ever caught yourself opening your phone for one reason, only to realize minutes later you are somewhere else entirely? You told yourself you would just check one message, but now you are scrolling a feed you never meant to touch. That shift was not an accident. It was a lie, hidden beneath another lie. This is the third sign that digital clutter has taken control. The system never admits what it wants. It tells you stories instead. Stories about connection. Stories about productivity. Stories about staying informed. And when one story collapses under the weight of truth, another quickly takes its place. Think about social media. At first it promised friendship. Then it promised news. Now it promises mental wellness. Each rebrand is a new layer of disguise. The goal never changed. Only the mask did. Psychologists studying behavior have found that on average people lie once or twice a day. Most of those lies are small, meant to smooth the edges of human interaction. But technology does not lie to protect feelings. It lies to protect profit. It tells you this new feature will save time, but the design still consumes it. It tells you this platform is about creativity, but the algorithm still rewards outrage. It tells you this update is about your well-being, but the metrics still measure your attention, not your health. Nicholas Carr, in his book The Shallows, explains that our brains adapt to the tools we use. When the tool trains us with false promises, we begin to internalize those lies. We believe we are choosing freely, when in truth, our choices are being nudged, redirected, confined. The danger is not only in the external trick. It is in the way our own minds start repeating the story back to us. Digital minimalism cuts through by refusing to play along. When you hear the promise, you test the reality. Did this tool give me the freedom it advertised, or did it just steal another hour? Did this feature deliver peace, or did it plant restlessness? The answer is always visible if you are willing to watch. Here lies the hard truth. Once trust is broken, it does not return through new words. It returns only through new actions. But platforms rarely change their actions. They only change their language. So if you want honesty, you must supply it yourself. You must tell the truth about your own habits, your own time, your own limits. This is the path of minimalism. And yet, the moment you begin to see through the lies, another pattern appears. You realize that the system does not always chase you directly. Sometimes it simply waits, silent and patient, until it senses you have something to offer. That is the fourth sign. Sign 4. They only come around when they need something. Think about the people in your life who only show up when it benefits them. They disappear when you are in need, but return with sudden warmth the moment they want a favor. It is a painful realization, and yet this is exactly how digital clutter behaves. This is the fourth sign that technology has begun to use you instead of serve you. These tools are not loyal companions. They are opportunists. They wait until they can extract value, and then they appear at your door. Have you noticed how silent an app can be until it wants your attention? The push notification arrives not when you truly need information, but when your engagement is most profitable. A flash sale ending tonight. A breaking story you cannot miss. A new follower who just discovered you. The timing is never about your schedule. It is about theirs. Cal Newport calls this the tyranny of the inbox. The feeling that you must respond, must check, must answer, because the signal has arrived. But the truth is darker. The system does not care about your urgency. It only cares about keeping you in motion, feeding it with your presence. Think of email. The average worker receives dozens, sometimes hundreds of messages each day. Most are irrelevant, yet each one interrupts your focus. The inbox does not measure importance, it measures intrusion. And every ping is another reminder that your time belongs to someone else. Now look at social media. When you post, the platform rewards you with likes and comments. But when you fall silent, it quickly withholds attention. It knows that validation is addictive. So it appears again, nudging you back into the cycle. Not because it cares about your voice, but because it profits from your return. This is the same opportunistic pattern the Stoics warned about in human behavior. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In our age, we might say, waste no more time waiting for a good platform. Choose one or walk away. Digital minimalism is that choice. It means recognizing which tools show up only to take, and refusing them the privilege of your time. It means building systems where you decide when to check, not the other way around. It means understanding that true connection is never forced by a notification. It is chosen in silence at the moment you are ready. And here is the paradox. When you stop answering every call, when you refuse the opportunist, the space left behind begins to fill with something else. Clarity, focus, calm. But there is a cost. The moment you resist being used, the system does not surrender. It shifts tactics. It turns its energy to a deeper game. It tries to make you feel small, unworthy, even foolish for stepping away. That is the fifth sign. Sign 5. They try to make you feel stupid. Have you ever opened up to someone you trust, only to have your feelings dismissed with a simple phrase? Why did you not see that coming? Why would you do something so careless? In that moment, instead of comfort, you feel small. You feel foolish. This is the fifth sign that digital clutter has crept into your mind. It does not only demand your time, it trains you to doubt your own intelligence. Think about the subtle messages embedded in your apps. The streak counter that tells you you failed because you missed a single day. The suggestion that you are behind because you have not checked in for a while. The algorithm that whispers you are not attractive enough, not successful enough, not smart enough, because others are getting more attention than you. Every design choice is a mirror tilted against you, reflecting not who you are, but who they want you to believe you are. This tactic is as old as manipulation itself. By making you feel inadequate, the manipulator strengthens control. When you feel weak, you are more likely to seek reassurance from the very source that weakened you. So you return. You scroll again. You post again. You wait for validation. Nicholas Carr warned that digital media does not simply change what we think. It changes how we think. It shortens our attention. It deepens our doubt. When the system constantly measures you against others, your sense of self erodes, and you begin to measure yourself by numbers that were never meant to define a human life. The Stoics had a different view. They believed our worth is not determined by others, but by how we live in harmony with nature and reason. Epictetus said, "If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, know that you have compromised your own integrity. Replace the pursuit of validation with the pursuit of virtue." Digital minimalism takes that ancient wisdom into modern practice. It reminds you that the like button does not measure your value. That follower count does not measure your contribution. That algorithm does not have the authority to tell your story. When you remove these false metrics, you stop being the fool they want you to believe you are. You reclaim the right to decide what matters. And yet, when you no longer accept their insults, another trick appears. They act as if they do not even know what they have done. They pretend innocence. They feign surprise. And this performance is the sixth sign. Sign 6. They act like they do not know. Have you ever confronted someone about the pain they caused, only to hear them say with wide eyes, "I had no idea"? Suddenly the harm you felt is not acknowledged, it is erased, and you are left questioning yourself. This is the sixth sign of digital clutter. When technology is exposed for the weight it puts on your mind, it pretends innocence. It acts as if it has no idea what it has done. Think about the moments when platforms are caught. When studies reveal higher rates of anxiety, depression, or loneliness among heavy users, the response is always the same. We did not realize. We never intended this. We only wanted to connect people. The performance is convincing because it appeals to your compassion. But compassion does not change reality. The truth is, every feature has been tested, measured, refined for one outcome: more time, more attention, more dependence. The infinite scroll was not an accident. The autoplay button was not a coincidence. The push notification at midnight was not a mistake. These were deliberate choices, designed to keep you hooked while pretending to be harmless. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, revealed how entire teams work to exploit our psychological triggers. He calls it persuasive technology, a field built on studying human weakness, then wrapping it in the mask of convenience. When questioned, the companies claim innocence. But innocence ends where knowledge begins, and they know everything. Stoic philosophy reminds us that a person is defined not by their words, but by how they act when faced with truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You should not be surprised if a fig tree produces figs." In the same way, we should not be surprised when a system built for profit produces manipulation. The nature was there from the start. Digital minimalism gives us a way out of this theater. We do not wait for an apology that will never come. We do not expect the system to admit guilt. Instead, we reclaim the authority to name the harm ourselves. We acknowledge the truth of what the tool does to our mind, and we act accordingly. The innocence they claim is not our concern. Our concern is freedom. But the performance does not end there. When denial fails, when innocence no longer convinces, the system turns to its most powerful weapon. It tries not just to distract you, not just to confuse you, but to control you outright. It shifts from pretending to persuading, from disguise to domination. And that is the seventh sign. Sign 7. They try to manipulate you. There comes a moment when distraction is no longer enough, when denial no longer works, when innocence fails to convince, and so the system reveals its final weapon: manipulation. This is the seventh sign of digital clutter. It does not only steal your attention, it seeks to control your decisions. Look closely at the way your apps are built. The infinite scroll that removes the natural pause. The autoplay that rolls into the next video before you can think. The streak counter that chains your sense of accomplishment to a glowing number. These are not neutral choices. They are deliberate designs, created to make you act before you decide. Tristan Harris, founder of the Center for Humane Technology, explained it simply. Technology has become a race for our brainstem. Whoever captures the impulse first wins. And once they win, they guide you wherever they want you to go. This is how manipulation works. It disguises itself as kindness. It tells you it is helping you relax, when in truth, it is keeping you hooked. It tells you it is keeping you informed, while flooding you with outrage. It tells you it is helping you connect, while quietly shaping how you speak, how you think, even how you love. The Stoics taught that freedom is not the absence of chains, but the mastery of the self. Epictetus reminded his students that no man is free who is not master of himself. And in our digital age, mastery means setting boundaries where the system refuses to set them. Digital minimalism is that act of mastery. It is the quiet decision to take back your time from autoplay, to cut the chain of streaks, to refuse the manipulation of endless feeds. It is the discipline to pause, to breathe, to ask, is this what I choose, or is this what I was made to choose? At first, the manipulation feels too strong to resist, but every time you refuse, every time you step away, you reclaim another piece of yourself. You remember that your worth was never measured in likes. Your peace was never hidden in a notification. Your life was never meant to be lived as someone else's algorithm. And once you see the manipulation clearly, there is no going back. Because now you know the game, and when you know the game, you can walk away. Which brings us to the final moment. The conclusion. The reminder that all 7 signs point not to despair, but to choice. And that choice is still in your hands. Digital minimalism is not about rejecting technology. It is about refusing to be deceived by it. When you recognize the 7 signs, you begin to see the truth behind the disguise. You see how the rebrand hides the hunger. You feel how the strange vibrations invade your peace. You notice how lies cover lies, how the system only comes when it profits, how it makes you feel small, how it pretends innocence, and how it finally tries to manipulate you. But here is the hope. The power has always been in your hands. You can turn off what drains you. You can remove what lies to you. You can protect the space where your mind is free to think, free to love, free to live. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. In our age, that strength is digital minimalism. If this message resonates with you, let us continue the journey together. Leave a comment sharing which sign you recognized most in your own life. Like this video if it awakened something in you. And subscribe so you do not miss the next step in reclaiming your attention and your freedom. Your mind is worth more than any algorithm. Protect it. Live deliberately.